While doing partial reps can result in building muscle, what exactly are we leaving on the table by cutting our range of motion short? Now, when it comes to actually building muscle, this is simply time under tension of that muscle. Now, assuming that this stimulus is enough to cause the muscle to grow, it will grow regardless of if the muscle is moving or not. So because of this, people assume that they can do partial reps and that it'll be just as good as if they did the full rep. Now, they might be right. They might be able to build just as much muscle as somebody who does the full motion, but it comes at a cost. What happens here is people have this goal to try and get as much muscle as possible. Now, it matters how we go about getting that muscle for some very specific reasons. A healthy joint is both flexible and strong throughout its available range of motion. Now, if you're doing a partial rep, you will be strong in that specific arc of motion that you're training in, but outside of that motion, say farther down or farther up in the mobility, you will be weaker than if you had trained throughout the entire motion. Now, a good example here is a squat. Say we have two individuals who have the same amount of muscle mass, and then they both do a squat. If one of them trains partial range of motion and the other trains full range of motion, the person who trains the partial range of motion might be able to lift more throughout that little motion that they do, whereas the person who goes all the way down will be much stronger at the bottom of the squat. So if you put the same amount of weight on the bar, the person who goes throughout the full motion will be able to go all the way down and not get stuck at the bottom, whereas the person who only does the partial mini squat, they will likely get stuck at the bottom. Now, the reason is that when you strengthen a muscle, you have to strengthen throughout the entire range of motion. Otherwise, you're training the body to specifically adapt to be strong in one movement or one limited movement for that muscle, not all of its available movement. Another benefit of actually going through full range of motion is that we will maintain or improve the joint mobility, specifically for the joints required for that motion. So again, looking at the squat, if you go all the way down, not only are you improving the joint mobility of the ankles, but you're also helping the knees and the hips. If you do a limited squat, you get none of that, meaning that your joints over time will likely be much tighter than the person who goes all the way down, because that motion requires you to go through all of the mobility for those joints. Now, translate this to a real world example. Take those two individuals again, and they're trying to move a heavy piece of furniture. Have to squat all the way down. The person who trained to do that is going to be far more successful than the person who trained with the limited mobility on their reps. So make sure you're doing full range of motion with whatever lift you're doing, unless your goal is to build muscle tone, you're doing an isometric or something like that. So I hope that was helpful. If you found it helpful, you can go ahead and leave a like. Otherwise, if you have any questions, leave it in the comments section and I will answer that. Or you can go ahead and subscribe, and my channel is all about how we can build a healthy and physically functional body that will last throughout our lives.